Hey everyone, so we are back again. So thank you for joining us. And this is the last push. This is it for this year's training series. And with the past year that we've had, the board and I all decided that it was a really great opportunity to provide some professional development for everyone on stress. If nothing else, this past year and a half for our custodial teams and maintenance teams out there has been really, really trying. And being pulled in 1,000 directions, not being sure about your own safety. Are you bringing something home to your families? Are you not doing a good enough job disinfecting? And is it going to make some kids sick or make a teacher sick? It just spun and spun and spun and spun. And looking at the data on on medical journals and things, you can see how the ratings and number of people going to see their physicians for stress and for anxiety and for depression was through the roof. So we're going to go through a session on different coping mechanisms for dealing with stress, how to balance things out, and how to figure out, how can you really make use of how you're experiencing life. There's no one answer, there's no right answer, but hopefully some of the things we talk about today might be something that can resonate with you all, something you can share with your families, or just take something away from it. So here's where we start. Where won't you go? There we go. We're going to do a quick self-assessment. I'm going to talk about some different stressors, some responses, and like I said, some coping strategies, and how you can reframe how you approach stress and really embrace it. So here's why I'm stuck with this. So here's a beautiful picture of me, right? What a handsome devil. This was me after I let stress get the better part of me. About 6 years ago, I had a concussion from playing hockey. That didn't cause this. What caused it was Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, which is shingles inside your ear. I don't recommend it. It was really horrible. Caused all sorts of vestibular damage. As you can see here, I have Bell's palsy on the left side of my face. I lost the taste on one side of my face. I still have tinnitus in my ears. It left me with anxiety that I'd never had before in my life, sensory issues, a whole laundry list of things, which started me on this journey to try and figure out how to settle into my new skin. Luckily, a lot of the side effects from this, after 6 months, I was out of work for 6 months. I couldn't look at TV screens. The video would jump around. My left eye still doesn't track properly. All that being said, it's provided me an opportunity to figure out how I can better deal with stress. So what helps me deal with stress is a lot of things. I'm wired a little different than the rest of the population. So, sometimes some of my things are going around and checking out cool stuff. This is a picture for some graffiti art that my family and I tracked down in West Berlin. We vacation a lot. We like to travel a lot, because pre-COVID was a hell of a lot easier than it is now. But it's finding what clicks with you. It's finding these little things, these little moments, these little step-aways that kind of let you reflect on things and say, things are gonna be all right. This is cool. If there's this cool art out in the world, there's still hope. And it's trying to go through and figure out where all that fits. But let's talk about where we are now. So the scope of facilities management and our custodians and the folks that manage our buildings, back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, you kind of knew a little bit about cleaning. You knew a little bit about maintenance. You could turn a screwdriver. You had a pair of pliers. You could kill a mouse. And that's all you needed. And that was good enough for back then. Then you jump forward to, post 70s, 80s into now, especially after that last session we just talked about with Lynn. You need to know so much more. So much more. What can you use for equipment? What can't you use for equipment? What should you disinfect? Do you need a sanitizer? Do you rinse? Do you not rinse? What happens if a kid drinks it? I don't know. Got it splashed in my eye. Oops, got pricked with a needle, right? Last week we talked with Jim Leonard from DLS. All these things keep adding and adding and adding. But the one thing that doesn't add, we don't really increase our programs. You get a larger building turned over to you. You may get a 0.5 custodian to add for the square footage, maybe. If you're lucky, maybe you'll get a full-time custodian. Ooh, wouldn't that be lovely? But now you've got to maintain the heating equipment. Now you've got to maintain all the different cleaning, you know, all the different finishes, all the VCTs, the LVTs, all this kind of cool stuff that's in there. But your team and your leadership and your support really hasn't grown that much. This adds to our stress. This keeps adding to where we're going. And that whole concept of work-life balance, right? That's what you always hear. Oh, you need to balance your home life and balance your work life. That's a bunch of BS. You know, your average work week is between 45 to 65 hours, depending on basketball rentals, you know, wrestling matches, PTO groups, community ed. You know, your average time at home, maybe 45 to 65 hours a week. And the time that you sleep, if you're lucky and your brain actually shuts off, mine doesn't, you know, it falls in there. And then your normal daily life stuff goes in, you know, parenting, if you have kids, if you're running around doing errands, if you own a home, if you don't own a home, you know, that adds up to about 11 billion hours last time I did the math. So balance, really, not so much. So the one thing that you're going to see is that we're not going to be able to take stress out of our lives. It's not something you can do. The people that say, oh, why don't you just take a breath and calm down? Well, that's ridiculous. Part of it could be taking a breath, taking a step back, but you might not be wired that way. That might be really bad advice for you, because you might be the type of person that runs on, you know, just goes a million miles an hour and is happier and feels less stressed when you're busy. And that's okay. So that's what we're going to kind of tear into today and kind of take a look at. So what is stress? It's your body's response to your demands on life. It's one of the 5 out of the 6 leading causes of death. You know, the heart disease, cancer, stroke, respiratory issues, accidents, all can be linked to stress. And visits to the doctor's office, and this number is probably up even higher now, 70 to 90% of the doctor's office visits are stress related. So symptoms, a lot of headaches, maybe you're fatigued, maybe your body is just exhausted from dealing with it all. You know, do you have stomach upset? Do you have, you know, is there body pain? Do you physically have like a muscle strain? I have muscle strain in the left side of my neck that I take medication for. And I go and get Botox injections every 3 months, because that stress in my neck leads to my migraine headaches, which leads to all this other kind of fun stuff. And granted, mine was situational, because it's all a byproduct from my disease that I had and suffered with. But still, stress really triggers it. The mental components of stress, you know, anxiety, panic attacks, you know, as your heart starts to race and just the world starts to spin around you. Does it link to eating disorders? Do you eat too much? Do you not eat enough? Addiction, suicidal thoughts, all those kind of things fall into this, you know, a symptom of stress. And then you have the emotional components of it. You know, are you sad? Are you depressed? Are you angry? Are you irritable? Right? If you're stressed out at work, do you take that stress home with you? And, you know, when your wife or your kids or your spouse or whoever asks you a question, you snap at them, because you're pissed off at the world because you're having a hard time coping with all the stressors that you have in your life. So what are some of the causes? Here's a quick list. Money's a big driver. You know, if you're having financial instability, especially during COVID, right? A lot of folks lost their jobs. A lot of people that had 2 house incomes went down to 1, went down to none. Toxic work environment, the people you work with, are they just not good people to be around? But you're forced to spend all day with them and all night with them, especially during a pandemic. Job insecurity, are you starting a new one? You know, did you just lose your job? You know, it's funny that one of the lists was, you know, are you getting married? Are you getting divorced? Both provide stress, right? Any folks that can remember back when they're getting married, or in the process of getting married right now, oh my God, well, you know, where do you sit the aunt and uncle at which table? Oh, this parent hates that one. They can't talk to each other. What are you going to do? It all adds up. Having kids, being discriminated, right? If you feel that you're being discriminated for your race, for your sex, for your sexual orientation, any of that kind of stuff, that carries a huge weight with you every day, and all that's weighing on your back. Experiencing loss during COVID, we lost a lot of dear people in our lives. There's very few people that you can talk to that don't know someone that passed away during COVID, or they have someone in their circle, oh yeah, my coworker's wife passed away, oh poor bugger. Trying to figure out how to cope with that and how to help them cope with it. So now that I've given you all of that great stuff, right? Our lives are peachy keen. We don't have any stress. We don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. We've got thousands of kids showing up the first day of school with all the teachers and all the parents and everyone's still freaked out about COVID, and they're all looking to us for answers. Did we clean? Did we disinfect? How's our air handlers? So do a self-assessment right now. Figure out where you're currently sitting, listening to this session, and how your body feels. How do you feel emotionally right now? Do you have any physical pain that you can link to stress? Just take 2 seconds of quiet time and just kind of settle in and figure out on a scale from 0 to 10, where do you fall? So this morning when I woke up, I was at a 10. Both presenters didn't have their presentations 100% done to me. I had to coordinate and manage all the registrations. Now this afternoon, I'm posting it again, which means I need to upload all of my videos and have them cleaned up and scrubbed. I'm losing my mind. And it's funny that once I started presenting this session and started going through my presentation and seeing the information, it really helped me adjust my approach. And hopefully it'll help you adjust yours as well. So work-life balance, right? Do you work to live or do you live to work? And that's always a big question. I think the younger generation has this dialed in a little bit better. I'm a Gen Xer. If you look at the generational places where you're supposed to be earmarked. So my generation, we hate everyone. We don't need help. We're a little angry. And I define myself by my work. If I go to a friend's party, a barbecue, and you go meet someone, one of the conversation items that you use when you meet this person is, oh, so what's your name? Oh, yeah. What do you do for work? It's a given question. We've probably all said it 1,000 times. Millennials and younger generation, they don't open up with that. They say, oh, where'd you go on vacation this year? You have any big plans coming up for trips? I think they get it. They work so they can live. They don't live so they can work. They've got that whole balance thing figured out, right? They understand that if they don't take care of their body and their soul and their mind, what's the point? So it's great to identify with your work. It's great to be proud of your work. You all should be proud of it. What you do is critically important to the well-being of all of our communities and all of our children that are coming to our schools. That's really, really important. Take pride in that. But at the same time, you got to take care of yourselves, because if you don't take care of yourselves, you can't take care of anyone. So let's talk about toxic workplaces. I have worked for a lot of really amazing leaders. I have worked for some that were a little bit difficult. I have worked for some that didn't focus on employees and supporting their staff, and they focused on checking the box and missions. I mean, I think we've all worked with a lot of different people, and we've all worked with coworkers who also make it difficult. This can really, really cause a lot of stress in your life. So what does that look like? Your manager or your leader is all stick, no carrot. Go do this because I told you to. There's no reward, just go do it. Do they micromanage you? Are they all up in your grill trying to tell you what you're doing? A lot of bullies in the office. And it's things like that that really wear down a team. Lots of talk with little action. We're going to go do this. Yeah, they say we are going to go do this, but when at the end of the day, is that they mean you're going to go do this, and I'm going to give you little support and little help to do it. And when you don't do it, I'm going to chastise you and give you a hard time and reflect it in your evaluation that you didn't disinfect every classroom surface like I told you to. Well, you didn't give me enough people and enough time to do it, or enough materials and enough tools. So those are some of the things that you can see in the toxic workplace, toxic bosses. I wish we were in person so I could see the smiles and the snickers and the laughs in the rooms right now. We've all worked for them. You know, the narcissist, the person that's me, arrogant, boastful. They don't want to hear, you know, what you're talking about. Do they lie? You know, can they be trusted? These are all things that weigh on you on a daily basis. And this is all of that toxicity and that stress and that issues that you bring home with you and become a part of you. You don't even realize it because you're exposed to it for so much. There's a saying in leadership that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And when you think about that and you look at the 5 people that you see the most in your life, one of them is likely a coworker, right? Because you spend a ton of time with them. You've got your best buddies, you've got your family, but the people you spend the most time with, are they people that build you up or tear you down? And that's something you really need to look at. You know, when you go to work, is there discrimination, sexism, racism, ageism? You know, people homophobic? What kind of work environment are you exposed to? And when you look at it, there's a couple of things you can do. You really get 2 choices. Right, that book, Rising Above Toxic Workplace, it's a great book. Saved my life. It really did. I was really struggling with a toxic work environment, and it was really detrimental to my health. I took a long road trip, and I'm a horrible reader, but I have a lot of windshield time, so I download books on Audible, and I'll listen to them. So I took a road trip, listened to that book, and it made perfect sense to me. And it gave me a path to making my life better. And it provided me an opportunity to make different choices on how I was approaching that condition. I couldn't change the condition. All I could change is how I was approaching it. You know, do you look for the good? I love, now I love working for bad leaders because it reminds me of what I shouldn't do, right? It gives you a perfect example of what you shouldn't do. And it shows you how people respond to that. With your coworkers, if someone's, if it's a toxic working place, you can all get together and say, hey, we know things suck here. I get it. But we can still put our best foot forward and help kids and help teachers. So regardless of what administration says, we've got to do our best job that we can do because there's too much at stake. You can stop the hurtful treatment that's in your control. You can certainly discuss with your HR department. You can certainly have a discussion with your leadership team. You can let them know, and you have to be an advocate for yourself. Do you give someone the benefit of the doubt? Are they having a bad day? Are they having a bad year? Superintendents this past year, there are over 50 new superintendents in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Many of you people sitting in this session probably have a new one. Same for business managers, same for facilities directors. And this year chewed up and spit out a lot of people that had everyone doing some soul searching to figure out where they fit in best. And some of them decided that it was best for them and their families, that the current role they had was not a good fit and they needed to jump ship, and they did. Which gets us to our option 2. You can leave. That's always an option. That's in your control, right? It's always easier to look for a job when you have a job. But if your culture is that bad where it's making you physically ill, both either physically or mentally ill, that is an option to leave. And there's a lot of really funny resources out there. There are all these trees that show you, should I quit? Should I stay? If you say yes to this, click right, click left, and you kind of move your way around. You figure out yes, no, do you have a job? Yes. Do you really want a job? And it kind of moves you through and helps you walk through it. But at the end of the day, you need to figure out, am I going to go get a new job? Am I going to chase this? If I am, that's okay. If I am not, I need to adjust how I'm responding to the conditions that are making me not happy. That's what you can control. The things that you can control, get after it, chase them, change them. The things you can't control, you can't control. You're not going to change a narcissistic leader. You're not going to change someone that is top-down management. I don't care how often you talk to them. You can try, but maybe you need to figure out how to work with them. Or maybe you need to learn how to manage them from the back and figure out how to approach it, how to get what you need out of it, how to go and do a good job, and how to really focus on helping the kids that you need to help. Don't Feed the Monkey. Another little quick book. It's a good book. It's an easy book to read. It talks about anxiety, talks about fear, talks about worry. And this is a lesson I learned from one of my clinicians that I go to help me with my migraines and help me with my stress and anxiety. And the concept is this, and how it was best explained to me. Your brain is broke up into a couple of chunks, right? You've got your rational brain. That's the thinking part of your head, right? That's the one that says, I'm fine, I'm in control, everything's good. You have your mammalian brain, you know, it's your emotion, it's your pleasure, it's your pain, that kind of stuff, which you really don't have control over. You kind of approach it. And then you have this little reptilian brain, the monkey brain in the back. And that's the one that's your fight or flight part of your brain, right? This is the one that causes anxiety. The problem is you have this rational part of your brain at the front, which you think is controlling the ship, but it's really not. It's that monkey brain in the back, that reptile brain that says, no, this is a bad situation. It's making me really anxious. I have to get the hell out of here. The problem is those two parts of your brain, they don't talk to each other in the same language. One's telling everything's fine. I'll be fine. I'll just suck it up, buttercup. You'll be okay. Just go with it. Well, that's bad advice from your brain talking to your body and the part of the brain that's really controlling it. You need to figure out how to connect those two and how to let your rational part of your brain know that, you know what? This is making me anxious. I feel really anxious about this. I'm going to get some help. It could be going to a therapist. It could be medication. It could be a number of things. It could be talking and just communicating with your leadership team and saying, hey, I'm a little uncomfortable about this. Here's where it's making me feel. I want to make sure what I'm doing is right because it's important. Am I using this piece of equipment correctly? Am I leaving enough dwell time because I'm really freaked out that what I'm doing is going to inadvertently make someone sick? Talk about it. Get it out. Discuss it. Go get help. It's normal. It makes perfect sense once you figure it out that you just saying, I'm fine. You're not. You're not. It's okay. It's okay not to be fine. Once you embrace that, once you get that philosophy as part of your toolbox and knowing, you know what, I'm feeling a little anxious right now. I know what's going on. Back part of my brain says, whoa, 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 run away, run away. Maybe that's not the right answer. Maybe you just need some help and support and talk it through. What are some of those support strategies? You can talk to your family. You know, I talk to my kids all the time, talk to my wife all the time. They're part of my support system. They can see, because I'm lucky enough that I have a very close family, and they can see when I'm amped up. They can see when I'm anxious. They can see when I'm having a panic attack. And they'll say, hey, you okay? Like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm just amped. I'm just amped right now. You don't have a good relationship with your family? That's okay. You've got friends. Go talk to your friends. Go find a group of people that you feel comfortable with. Don't have that? Share those with a pet. Get a cat, get a dog, get a fish. Get someone you can talk to. Get a therapist. There's a number of ways out there. And one of my best friends, Paul Anastasi, who used to be the operations director for Newton, I said, yeah, you can get a pet. He's like, yeah, here's what I do. Here's my social support. Here's my pet. That's my pet right there. That's my Lulu pet. That's my support cat. He says, oh, that's really cute. But anytime I'm feeling anxious or stressed out, I'll lie on the couch and she immediately can tell and she jumps on my chest, even though she's 14.5 pounds and crushes me a little bit. And she just settles in. And it's just like a weighted blanket, like a therapy blanket, which might work for you. What works for Paul is he goes out and kills animals. That's his therapy. That's part of his support system. He'll go out in the woods with his sons and daughters and family and nieces and nephews and whatever, and this is something that they use to support each other. That's what works for him. That's what helps him deal with the stress and the anxiety and all the stuff that gets thrown at you on a daily basis. Another option, faith. I'm not a religious person at all. I'm really not. Do I think that I have, I think I would define my approach to this more from a spirituality standpoint. I believe in energy. I believe in karma. I believe in treating people really well, and in turn, the planet kind of treats you well. That's what works for me. But for people who are extremely, faithful and religious, it's a great place to go and to turn to deal with your stress. You share, when you're in a community and you go into a church or a temple or a synagogue or something, wherever you're worshiping, you're discovering a sense of purpose, right? Something that's bigger than yourself. You're connecting with people who are like-minded and thinking the same way that you are about things. You get a sense of inner peace. It's a great support system. My parents, who are religious, they don't and will regularly talk to their priest. If they're having a hard time, if they're stressed out, feeling anxious, whatever, hey, Father Bill, can we come chat with you? And they'll go talk. And when they leave there, they feel supported and they have a better approach at things, and it really calms them down. The other huge benefit, you're praying to your God, right? And God, your God is always there. That's something that, you take the time away. And if you're having a really hard time of it, it does provide people that sense of security that certainly helps them through. It's an option. It's not the right option for everyone. It's not the right option for me, because that's not where my head is at. But it's a piece that hopefully some people will be able to kind of consider, when you're looking at it, that you may undervalue the importance of this in your life. Different approach, different tact. People talk about mindfulness. It's eating your food slowly, chewing it, really enjoying the flavor of it, and not just sucking it down and being focused on the next thing. Well, this mindfulness is taking time to figure out what's going on in your body, to figure out why you're responding to something, to find a coping mechanism that helps you kind of take a breath away. There's an interesting thing that we're going to run through here really quickly, and try and stay open-minded with this. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what you do is you run down this list in your head. Keep it inside your head. You don't have to speak it out. But I just want to walk you through this kind of breathing meditation mindfulness exercise. And what you find is that it will slow down your pulse and it will kind of get you grounded. So let's go through it. 5. I want you to find 5 things that you can see. 4 things that you can feel. Could be the skin touching your shirt, could be your toe at the front of your shoe. 3 things that you can hear. 2, and this one's a little tricky, 2 things that you can smell. And the last one, I kind of mix this up a little bit. The last one I always go with is the one thing that brings you the most joy in your life. What is that one thing? That took all of what, 30 seconds? So if you're really having a rough time, if you're really jammed up, maybe take a little step away, go step out to the loading dock, go to your office, go somewhere, and just kind of run through a quick exercise like this to just bring things back down, just to re-regulate yourself, so that way you can go and do your work, and that way you can go and do it in a place where your mind space is better. I always love this one, right? What do you mean you've never had a massage? One of my friends has a scheduled massage once a month because that's what helps get rid of his stress. I try to go a couple times a year. I should go once a month, but I know that I just can't fit it into my schedule, which is foolish because I've told myself that. Never had a massage? Go have one. Check it out. There's places where there's a place in Boston called Happy Feet Massage. It's right outside of Chinatown, and you go in there, keep your clothes on. They put a towel over your shoulders. You take your feet off and you soak them in this delicious, this nice warm tea. It's not the same tea you drink. Don't worry about it. They don't recycle that. Get some nice fresh orange slices, and you just sit there with nice music playing, and they'll give you a massage through that towel and through your shirt and clothes, and it just helps drop some of that stress. I always call that the gateway massage. If you don't feel comfortable, being in a towel in front of someone and having someone touch your body, you can ease into it. And it really helps relieve that stress and get some of that stuff off your shoulders and let you kind of settle in. So bad coping mechanisms, and I put the word excess in there. I like to drink beer. I like to go out with friends and have a good time. Do I do it every night? No. Do I do it during work? No. But it's figuring out where does that fit in. And are you using some of these to help you cope? Are you binge eating? Are you gambling? Do you go the minute you get out of work and go on a shopping spree just so you can fade about life for a little bit? Are you doing self-harm, right? Are you cutting? There's a number of bad coping mechanisms out there that you have to be cognizant of. You have to know if this is something that you're doing to yourself, and you have to realize the impact it's going to have on both your physical and your mental health. These coping strategies are just going to make things worse. So really take a look at that and really do some soul searching to figure out if it's something that you should be concerned about. You already know all this, right? Eat right, sleep right, regular exercise, blah, blah, blah. So how many folks get to the gym a couple times a week? How many folks do regular exercise that are listening in here? We got a couple hundred. I'm sure there's a few handfuls going up in the room. I read an interesting study about exercise, and they did a study with some custodians at a public school. And when they started interviewing the custodians, all the custodians said, yeah, we don't have time. I don't have time for exercise. By the time I get home, I'm exhausted. I can't go to the gym. And so what they did is they had two different groups that they broke out. One group, they told, hey, do you realize that your work is more exercise than most people get in a lifetime? You exercise every day. Part of your work is exercise. You're lifting, you're moving, you're bending. Think of the number of steps that you take, right? You're already crushing it. Do you need to go to the gym and get more? Maybe, if that's what you like to do. But you should know right now that you guys are killing it, and you're getting a ton of exercise every day as part of your work. Good for you. Congratulations. Now go back out and get some work done. And get after it, because you're helping kids and you're helping yourselves. So that was one control group where they gave them this information, which is true information. And the other group, they just said, yeah, we're just going to track you, and we're just going to see how you're doing with your normal day-to-day work. They didn't explain to them the benefits of their work and how it impact their body. And what they found from the control groups, from the two groups, the group that they had explained the whole benefits of your job, those people, without going to the gym, lost weight, felt better about themselves, reduced their stress at the job, actually started changing their diet and health habits as a result of it. All they did was view their work through a different lens. And I wanted to share that with all of you, because this is something that you get that a lot of people don't. I sit at a bloody desk all day now. I make sure I get up and walk around because I'm not getting those 10,000 steps, and I used to. So it's something to keep in mind, the back of your mind, where dealing with stress, you need to do exercise. Check, got that under control. Hooray for me. Track it one day. When you're out there doing your work, if you've got a Fitbit, you have a smartwatch or whatever, track your steps and see how many steps you do during your summer cleaning. My God, you're probably over 30,000. That's awesome. Make sure you share that information with your doctor. They'll give you a pat on the back. And talking about stress, there's also a different philosophy on stress. Stress is actually good. Kelly McGonigal released this book in this study that she had done talking about stress and how the view has changed or should change on how we've always viewed stress as bad, bad, bad. Like our earlier slides were talking about, oh my God, you're gonna get a heart attack. It's gonna cause pulmonary issues. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Maybe not. Maybe we're just viewing it wrong, right? Stress is actually good. There's a lot of benefits of stress. Stress, you have improved alertness and focus, right? If it's a stressful situation, you're really on task. Ooh, I got to get this thing done. Motivates people sometimes. It improves problem solving in a lot of us. It releases oxytocin, which is a hormone. That's kind of your happiness, your fight or flight response to it. And what that does is it lets you know you're alive, right? It lets you know that, oh, I'm feeling nervous. Why am I feeling nervous? Why am I doing all this? Well, I feel nervous because I care. Well, that's a good thing. I'm nervous. I'm not doing a good enough job and I'm going to make someone sick. That's okay to feel nervous. It's going to motivate me to go do my job and make sure I'm taking care of people. My heart is racing because it's pumping more blood to my body. I'm breathing hard during this event, during whatever is going on, because my body says you need more oxygen so that way you can get through this. And believe it or not, everyone that's listening in on this, you work better under stress. You really do. If there's a fire alarm in your building, everyone else is running out of the building. Custodians, maintenance techs will running back into the building to figure out what the problem is, so that way we can show the fire marshal where, oh, it's down in the home ec room, someone burnt some popcorn again, or whatever the hell it is. Active shooter, you're going around locking down doors. Think about Newtown and the stories came out of there. The head custodian saved hundreds of lives because under a stressful situation, he grabbed his keys and went and locked people in their rooms. He started screaming, lock down, because there was no notice going off when the shooter came through. That person's, he stepped up, but he was geared that way. His body responds better being under pressure. And I would hazard a guess that all of you do as well. We're wired a little different. So take that as a compliment and keep that in your head, that shifting the conversation from stress always being horrible to stress being something good that you excel at. That's great. Think of all the horrible situations you've had. You had the major flood, a sprinkler main burst, toilets overflowing. Did you run out of the building screaming, I can't do anything about it? No, you ran into it. You shut off the valve. You shut off the water main. You fixed this, you fixed that. You went and immediately sucked up all the water. It's a pretty stressful situation, but you went and did it without even thinking. That's pretty cool. So just keep that in mind as you're going through these things. It's changing how you're viewing things. It's a mindset intervention that how the world has always told you stress is bad for you. Maybe look at it differently and think about it. Maybe this is actually good. And maybe my body responds better towards stress than trying to always think it's a negative. I don't have time to show the video because I want to keep you guys rolling here, but Amy Cuddy, if you have time to go see this TED Talk, Amy does an amazing job talking about how your body impacts your brain's approach to life. Your body changes your outcome. And her whole concept is this: be big, right? Your body language tricks your brain. So she uses these few examples, like Mick Jagger with his arms way up, Oprah sitting like an absolute boss, hands behind her neck, that Wonder Woman pose, right? Yeah, everyone's doing it right now. I know you are. You want to look like Wonder Woman, hands out. All those things trigger reactions in your brain that tell your brain, I've got this. So if you're walking around slunched over, head down, shoulders forward, slouched over, that tells your brain to be in a defensive position. That tells your brain that you're vulnerable and that something bad is going to happen to you. So you have to be guarded. Your shoulders are down, your head's down, you're kind of pulled away, versus standing upright. So the trick that I always tell people is try that right now where you're sitting in your seat. Sit upright, lift your shoulders up, pull your shoulders back, and then drop them. That's your proper posture in your position. That's where your shoulders should be. We have a tendency to roll our shoulders forward. I had to go to physical therapy. I had a guy that would run therapeutic tape between my two shoulder blades on the back of my back to remind me to keep my shoulders back. Because what that did is it changed my brain to knowing I'm confident, I've got this. It also released some of the stress I was carrying in my muscle groups that I didn't even realize. So there's different ways and different approaches that you can tackle this. So if you have time, go take a look at Amy Cuddy. It's on TED Talk, and it's about power posing. And it's about how you approach the world from your posture and from how you're standing tells your brain where you fit into things. And if all that fails, if you have nothing else to go with it, you can always laugh. I try to find something that makes me happy every day. And if I'm having a really bad day, I have an archive of things that just make me laugh until I cry. And this is one of my favorite ones that I'll share with you guys. So hopefully you enjoy it as well.
Hey, Mark, excuse me. I'm on my way to 3768. Kind of got hung up. It's raining out here. I'm on my way into Dallas. Jerry's probably going to be calling you to find out where I'm at if he can't get a hold of me, I'm sure. So thought, whoa. Man, I just had a wreck right in front of me. This guy ran a red light and hit four old ladies in an Impala. Just kind of clipped them and turned them around right in front of me, man. That was close. Oh, now this guy's getting out of his car. He's got a white shirt on with a tiny cigarette hanging out of his mouth. He's throwing his hands up in the air like it was their fault. Oh, hold on. He's going over to their window. She's rolling down the window. Oh man, I think she sprayed him with pepper spray, man. He's holding his face and he's on his knee. She's beating him with an umbrella. The other women are getting out too. There's one woman with a little black person. She's tomahawking him, man. She looks like a Sunbelt 20 horsepower jackhammer. We got another woman that's she's hitting him like he's got a cattle prod, man. She's got an umbrella. She's sticking it in his side. Oh, there's another one it's a little woman that looks like Mother Goose. She beat him. She's got this U-bid bag. She beat him. She's got this U-bid bag. It's huge. It's about the size of her. She's about 4 foot nothing. She hit him over the head. Everything went all over the place. Her Bible fell. She just hit him in the head with a Bible. She picked this Bible up and she lifted it way over her head. It was a hardback NVI version. Oh, they're still beating the hell out of this guy. She picked his Bible up and raised it up above her head and just beamed the guy. This guy's not getting up. They're still hitting him. The one with the little black person still, pieces of it. Okay, he's up on the car. The little woman just beating him again with that big bag. He's running to his car. He's out of here. The little bitty Mother Goose woman. She's stuck into him as he's driving off. I wish you would have been here, man. This is too good. I gotta go.
Okay. So now, oh my God, I love that. I love that audio. Oh, so remember the self-assessment we took earlier today? Why don't you take a couple seconds and think about how you're feeling now? Hopefully everyone's feeling a little better. I know I am. Thank you for allowing me that. And that always adds a smile to my face. And I always envision in my head that as you guys are watching that in like a high school library or something, there are teachers and administrators walking by wondering why the hell all of you are laughing your asses off. It's a great tool that I use often. My job is stressful, much like everyone's job. And sometimes you need a little release. You need a little way to vent and get some of that off your chest. So what we're gonna do is, if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Pop them in the box. You also have all of my contact information off the website, massfacilities.com. I thank you all for logging in, and I thank you for sharing your time with me. I know time is crazy, especially with getting back to COVID and wondering what's going on out there. Hopefully a lot of this information resonates with you guys. Please feel free to share it with friends, family, whoever. And again, thank you for all the hard work that you do for all of our schools across the Commonwealth. I appreciate it. And we will see you at next year's event. So take care.